Anybody out there with mother-daughter struggles or just problems with your kids or your parents in general? This is what we're talking about today. We're looking at the movie Lady Bird. This one is for the woman that I met at the Richmond 48-hour Horror Project, a contest where film teams have 48 hours to make a movie. They can't prepare ahead of time because each team is given a different genre, the same line of dialogue, the same character name, and a prop that every movie has to contain. So, if that sounds like fun to you and you want to participate, check out the 48-hour film project. They have these in something like 200 cities worldwide. I forgot the woman's name that I talked to you about, Ladybird, but you know who you are, and this is for you. And if you are a fan of the video or this channel, please tell others. Give it a like or subscribe, and that will really help the channel to grow. So, thanks. Now, Lady Bird isn't just a coming of age story. It's a story about a mother and daughter who love each other, but hurt each other in the process. Sound familiar? I think that a lot of families have this dynamic. And if you come from a dysfunctional family, how are you going to have a healthy family? You may not make the same mistakes as your parents, but we don't know what we don't know. And that's Marion's problem, as you'll soon see. Marion and Ladybird have a controlling, rejecting, and deeply loving relationship between them. And the way that they relate gets in the way of them having the warm, respectful, nurturing relationship that they both want. Because we don't know what we don't know, I'm going to break it down line by line, scene by scene, so that if this is you or your mother, you don't have to guess or stumble upon it. You will see it in a crystal clear way. At least that's my hope, okay? So these two ladies are in a car on the freeway. An audiobook of The Grapes of Wrath is just finishing up, and Ladybird turns on the radio. Marion, Ladybird's mom, immediately turns off the radio and says, "Hey, let's just sit with what we heard. We don't need to be constantly entertaining ourselves, do we?" This by itself is no big deal, but this is the pattern with Marion. She is passive aggressive, and she's basically saying to Ladybird that she's wrong. Mom is the most powerful person in this relationship, and what she says goes. This is a subservient relationship, not one of equals. Now, this is kind of okay. Lady Bird is 17. She's a minor, so she's not supposed to be her mom's equal, but Marion is rearing a soon to be adult, so she needs to give her some space to try out her power while her mom can still serve as a safety net should things go wrong. Maybe there should be more negotiation rather than just shutting her down. When Ladybird acts sulky, Mom says, "It's just that you're being ridiculous. You have a great life." So again, Mom's not listening. She's being dismissive. She's telling her how she should feel, and that's invalidating. If that happens once, no big deal. But if you live with this day after day, this is seriously what creates things like borderline personality disorder and chronic PTSD. People need to be seen and heard, even if you're a child. This is a basic human need. So then Lady Bird says she doesn't want to go to school in California, and Mom says they can't afford it, and adds, "Your brother, your very smart brother, can't even find a job." And the underlying subtext of this is that Lady Bird isn't as smart as her brother, so what chance does she have? So we're minutes into this movie, and Mom keeps insulting and belittling Lady Bird. With every statement, she's digging in, and she doesn't even realize how she sounds. Mom's defensive, on guard, and she's creating a fight where there really isn't one. Then Marion says that the Catholic school tuition is already a lot of money, and her dad is being threatened with being laid off. She says that her son saw someone knifed in front of him, and that's why she sent Ladybird to Catholic school. So she's saying that she cares. She's saying that she wants to keep her daughter safe despite the financial sacrifice for the family. But because she didn't include Ladybird in the decision, it doesn't land like love. It lands a lot like manipulation to say, "Shut up. Your life is better than most." When Ladybird says that she wants to go to New York to college where there's culture, Mom's response is, "How did I raise such a snob?" She's still not listening. Even if she thinks her daughter is a snob, why not be open and curious to see why she thinks that? Why not see if they have a common interest that they could explore together and use this conversation as a way to grow their relationship? No. Mom digs in and alienates her and belittles her point of view, then wonders why they don't have a good relationship. Now, mom stabs her in the gut and says, "You couldn't even get into those schools." Yikes. Yikes. Marion's horrible, and she has no clue. She really doesn't. Then she goes on, "You should just go to city college and then to jail and then back to city college." If this were my mom, I'd find a way to get out and never come back. And Lady Bird has had enough too. She opens the door of the moving car and lets herself roll right out. In the next scene with Lady Bird and Marion, the family's having breakfast. Marion is making Lady Bird eggs. Lady Bird says, "Why can't I make my own eggs?" And Mom replies, "Because you take too long and you make a big mess that I have to clean up." So let's pause there. If this is true, this is a huge sign that Marion does too much. This is helicopter parenting. One of the reasons why parents hover over their kids and do everything is because it's more efficient than letting their kids figure it out. It does take too long. They do make a mess. And this is how they learn. We make mistakes and take too long when we're learning new skills. That's a part of the process of learning. And if we don't get to go through the process, we stay unskilled children for the rest of our lives. So, Marion gives Ladybird the eggs. Ladybird says they aren't done. And Mom throws the frying pan violently into the sink and says, "Fine, make your own eggs," and stalks off to the bathroom. Then Ladybird says, "Mom, I'm hungry." And Marion responds, "You had your chance." This is a passive aggressive power play. Ladybird wants independence, but she doesn't. Mom wants to be in control, but she wants her daughter to beg for it. Nobody is speaking their truth. It's all a game of figure out what I really mean, and this doesn't work. There's an RODBT skill of mean what you say what you mean, that would go a long way in cleaning up this relationship, but that requires clarity, vulnerability, and trust, and neither one of them have that. After Ladybird meets Danny and gets in the theater group, she comes home and overhears her parents talking about her dad being laid off. Ladybird goes straight to her room and her mom follows her up. The first thing Marion says is, "Christine, you can't leave your room like this because the room's a mess." And Mom picks up her school uniform and says, "You can't treat your clothes like this. I don't know what your wealthy friends do." Then she tells her that her father has lost his job. Then she switches to how she always has to be the bad guy. And Ladybird says, "Didn't you ever go to sleep without putting all your clothes away, like even once? And don't you wish that your mom hadn't gotten angry?" Marion responds with, "My mother was an abusive alcoholic." So, this is a case of displaced anger. Mom is angry that dad lost his job. Not necessarily mad at him, but angry at the situation. And mom's a control freak, but this puts more pressure on her to be the provider, and she's stressed out. She can't yell at her husband, so she's yelling at Ladybird. And once again, she's justifying it by saying she's better than her mom was. And this is clearly true, but that doesn't mean that Marion is healthy. If I'm a raging alcoholic and my child is a teetotaler who rages against all addiction, we're the same person, just opposite sides of the same coin. Is it better to be abused by the openly dysfunctional person or the repressed one? It's the same thing. Healing means that that energy goes away, it's transmuted. Not engaging in a hurtful behavior doesn't mean that you're healed. It just means that you're controlled. The underlying issue is still there. The emotions are still there. It just comes out in different ways. So I am 100% sure that Marion doesn't think she has a problem. If she does, she doesn't see it clearly. She thinks she's doing the right thing by providing private school for her daughter, being involved in her life, and taking her to visit schools. Those are all great things. And they're not a substitute for love, compassion, or nurturing. Later, Ladybird starts dating Danny and is invited to his family's Thanksgiving, and Danny's a rich kid. Ladybird and Marion are shopping for a dress, and Marion asks what's the dress code, and Ladybird doesn't know. Marion says she's looking for a dress that says Rich People Thanksgiving. So clearly, Marion has a hang up about money. I get it. If my husband was laid off and I had all these expenses, I'd be hyper focused on money too, but it's not that. Marion's super conscious about success and wealth. She and her husband moved into their house over 2 decades ago when they were first married, and it was supposed to be a starter home, and they're still there. Marion looks like she's judging her own life and sensing her own failure and taking it out on Ladybird. Then Marion says, "It's such a shame that you're spending your last Thanksgiving with a family you've never met instead of your own family. But I guess that's the way you want it." This is an attempt to guilt trip Ladybird. Marion wants to pretend to give Ladybird autonomy to make her own choices, and then she makes her feel bad for not choosing what her mom wants. And this is a double bind. Either way, Ladybird loses. If she stays home, she loses because this isn't where she wants to be. If she goes to her boyfriend's dinner, she loses because it upsets her mother. And when you can't win, you live with the shame, and shame is the hardest thing to heal. Take it from me. This is what I do all day long. But it all comes together a moment later, and Marion finds a vintage dress that they both love. They take it home, and Marion tailors it. She's finishing it late at night and hangs it up in Ladybird's room. Now, this is a touching scene that shows that these two really are a lot alike. They do love each other and can connect, and this is what makes their clashes so hard. It would be a lot easier if Marion were a monster. Then Ladybird could just hate her and walk away, but they really do love each other. The dysfunctional way of relating really gets in the way of connecting because being close means getting hurt. Now, the movie spends a lot of time with Ladybird and her friends, and then there is a really quick scene between Ladybird and her mother. And Ladybird is in the bathroom, and her mom needs to get in there. And Ladybird has just been in a bath, and she has a towel around her head and one around her body. Her mom opens the door and says, "Do you really need to use 2 towels? If you need 2 towels, you just have to say so because this affects my whole day. I have to do laundry before work, and now I need to know if there are more towels that I need to wash." I like to plan my day too, and I get this. And mom is over controlled. First, the very first thing she does when she sees Ladybird is to criticize. Imagine that being your day. You would want to avoid mom like the plague, always. She's always finding fault, even with the smallest thing. Second, over control is about needing to have your hands on everything. You have an attachment issue, so you don't trust other people. You have to do everything so you feel safe. You don't want any surprises. And if you do everything, there won't be any surprises because you trust yourself to do it right the first time. That's what's going on with the towels. Mom has every moment of her day planned. This isn't about Ladybird being inconsiderate, although she may be. This is about mom trying to manage her anxiety. By guilt tripping Ladybird into being more considerate, she can control Ladybird's behavior and stop her future anxiety before it starts. Brilliant, eh? Got it? Okay. Later, they get into an argument about money, and Marion says, "Do you know how much it costs to raise you? How much you're throwing away every day?" Ladybird says, "Give me a number. When I get older, I'm going to write you a check for what I owe you so that I'll never have to speak to you again." I get it. She's tired of feeling like a burden, tired of being wrong, tired of being told how much she costs, and just wants a break. And then mom says, "I doubt you'll ever be able to get a job good enough to do that." It's like, ouch. This is an opportunity for mom to lean in, go soft and listen, but she never takes the hint. Never. Two people can't be in a crisis at the same time because they're both in their taker space. They need to be given to, and neither one of them have it to give because they're so needy themselves, so neither gets their needs met. And the next time we see mother and daughter together is after Ladybird gives her virginity to a new rich boyfriend who doesn't really care. Ladybird is really crushed, and her mom notices something is off. This time, mom leans in and asks her if she wants to do their favorite Sunday activity, which is to go to open houses. Ladybird's up for it, and they spend an afternoon dreaming of a different future. This is another time that shows that there is love and understanding. It gives hope that it could always be like this. It makes them both feel close again. In our next scene, the two are shopping for a prom dress, and Ladybird tries one on and it's too tight. Mom says, "Maybe you shouldn't have had that second helping of pasta." When Ladybird comes out with the next dress, Ladybird says, I love it. And Mom responds, is it too pink? She just can't say anything nice ever. In fact, Ladybird says, why can't you say I look nice? And Mom says, do you want me to lie to you? Then Ladybird says, I just wish that you like me. This is the most honest thing that either of them has said. When Ladybird asks her mom if she likes her, her mom says, I just want you to be the best version of yourself that you can be. She can't even say that she likes her own daughter. And maybe she doesn't. Either way, I think she needs some help. If she can't say it, why? Why can't she be vulnerable with her daughter? If she doesn't like her, why? Is she too much like herself? Whatever it is, it's not Ladybird's problem. It's Marion's. And it would be helpful to Marion if she figured that out and healed from it. In the next scene, it's high school graduation. Danny, Ladybird's first boyfriend and now friend, asks her if she's heard anything from the college waiting list. Now, Marion doesn't know anything about this. Ladybird doesn't want to say anything and cause trouble before there's anything to get excited about, but Mom knows now, and Mom is ignoring her. Ladybird says, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone behind your back. It's not like I'm definitely going to New York. And there's no response. Mom, aren't you proud that I'm so close to getting in just a little? Still no response. Ladybird continues, I mean, yes, I know it was probably easier because 9/11 and less people applying with terrorism and all of that. Still, though, I'm sorry. I know I can lie and not be a good person. Still nothing. Ladybird says, please, Mom, please. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I appreciate everything you've done for me. I'm ungrateful. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I wanted more. This is a people-pleasing, fawning response. Ladybird feels compelled to take care of her mother's feelings, even though she hasn't done anything wrong. She's repeating all the negative things that she's heard her mother say to her over and over, trying to agree with her, saying she doesn't deserve any of this. And this is how Ladybird really feels. Her mother has programmed her to feel so unworthy and so undeserving, so she will have a hard time getting what she wants and a harder time enjoying it if it ever comes. Now, I've said this before, but this is the perfect example of Carl Jung's quote, nothing affects the life of a child so much as the unlived life of its parent. In other words, if you don't heal your demons, they will rear your children. The final scene with Ladybird and her mom happens at the airport when Ladybird is leaving for college in New York. Mom pulls up to the curb and lets Ladybird and her dad out. Ladybird asks her to see her off, but her mom says she can't park here anymore because of 9/11. Parking's too expensive. She wouldn't be allowed to walk her to the gate anyway, so Ladybird goes off. Now, everything Mom says is logical and true, but there's no feeling in it. Your daughter is going away to college, and you're so angry with her for leaving that you can't see her off? As messed up as all this is, once she goes to New York, Ladybird reverts back to her given name, Christine. She didn't want to be called that in California, but here, with some distance from her mom, it's easier to love her and be loved by her. And that's how it is sometimes when you have a mom whose emotions you have to take care of. So if you're listening to this and are thinking to yourself, that's my mom, if you think it might sink in, send her the link to this video and ask her to listen to it. Maybe she can see herself in it if she's a step removed. Or maybe sit down with her and watch the movie together. If you're Marion, it's not enough that you aren't drinking and doing whatever your mother did. That's great, but there's more to the work of healing than that. Start with mean what you say what you mean. Don't do the passive-aggressive stuff anymore. If you mean to be hurtful, keep up the criticism. If that's not what you mean, don't say things you can't take back. If you really don't like your child, figure out what's keeping you from giving your love freely. I assure you, it's not about the child. It's about you. Everything is about you. Other people are just a catalyst that provokes the reaction in you so that you can figure out what's out of balance. So figure that out and work on it. And find a way to give love without strings. Marion works doubles. She pays tuition for private school. She does laundry and cooks breakfast. But there's always a bill at the end. She wants appreciation, gratitude, credit or something that she doesn't get. And so she does it all grudgingly. And there's nothing worse than to be on the receiving end of a gift or a benefit that isn't freely given. It feels like a burden. There's a lot of work here for Marion if she wants to have a healthy relationship with her daughter. Her husband's a low conflict guy, so she isn't going to get any challenges from him. Her son goes along with whatever she says too. So, in a way, Ladybird is her greatest gift, but she doesn't even know it. Mother daughter relationships can be tough. When it is, if we're talking about a minor, it's up to the mom to figure out what she can do to make things better. The kid might be pushing back and making life hard, but mom's the leader. She sets the tone. When she has a healthy, firm boundaries and she's firm, fair, and consistent and respects the child as a person and includes her in decision making that impacts her. And oh, one more thing. If the mom doesn't expect the child to care for her emotions, then we have an appropriate structure where mom can lead and teach her daughter how to have healthy relationships because that's what she sees modeled at home. It's a tough situation, but this is something that can heal. And if you're in this situation and want some help, check out my group. The link is in the show notes. Hope that was useful for you. Let me know what movies you'd like to hear me talk about, and I'll see you next time on Mental Health in the Movies. Ciao.